All right, I can see us. We are live.
Mhm.
Hello, everybody. I can see that
Hey,
you have all been enthusiastic in the chat. So thank you so much for your patience. My name is Kathleen. I'll be your host for today's live feedback session with the one and only Pedro Loureiro. Yee.
yay, thank you so
Um,
much.
Yay. So we're really excited for this. So for those who don't know what a live feedback session is, we've posted the mechanics of this through our email and also on our private Facebook group, which if you are interested to join, I'm typing the name. So it's a private community where you can share your works as well. Um, and we posted the mechanics on how to enter this live feedback session with Pedro. So Pedro has classes with us on our website, that's etcherstudio.com. And if you have taken one of any of his classes and you wanted to Pedro to give critique and suggest ways on how to improve your skills, your style, then we open submissions for that. And yeah, we've received a couple and we're super excited to give comments about it. Um, and for the structure of this live feedback session, we'll start with a general feedback from Pedro, and we'll go from there. I see a lot of hi from Scotland. Um, and earlier there was somebody saying it's snowy where they're at, so we hope you guys are safe and hope we can keep you warm through this lovely session. So enough of me. If you have any questions, type them in the chat. I'll go ahead and interrupt Pedro anytime. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna hand the floor to Pedro himself so that he can introduce himself and talk about what we are going to do today. So
All right, thanks so much, Kathleen, and hi everybody. Welcome to this live feedback session. My name is Pedro. I'm coming to you from rainy Lisbon, and I'm currently in between apartments. So this is a very this is a very chaotic studio. It's like just pretty much a closed balcony. So excuse me for the scenario, which like I think Kathleen has a much nicer apartment on her background. So this is the temporary studio for now. So let's get to it. I've Kathleen forwarded me some of your work, and this is work that spans your work is spanning all courses, like a lot of courses that I did like in the past to Etcher. Uh, I've been teaching with Etcher since 2020, I think, and the first like major course, actual course instead of like a single workshop, the first course, several classes course was into 2021, I think, and I saw some material from that course. So it's amazing that people are in 2025 are still taking that one. I'm so happy for it. I think it's like it's kind of a solid. It was the first course, but I think it's like a solid piece of pedagogic material. So I'm really glad that people are still taking it, and yeah, like because like it's recorded and you can watch it all the time in the on Etcher Studio. We sometimes we have to do these live feedback sessions so that I can get in touch with you guys that are taking the course right now. Uh, also, I'm always available on Facebook and on Instagram and on the Etcher Studio platform as well, because I saw that a lot of you comment and provide your work on the platform itself, on Etcher Studio platform. So that's also good. Every now and again, I go there and I see if there's something new, and if there is, I try to comment on each and every one of your works. So let's get started on today's session. Um, I'm going to just jump into my screen. So I'm sharing my screen, and there is a little bit of a technological snafu here because there we go. Oh, oh, oh. Is it? Is this it? Is this it? Where's my screen? The screen is not connected. You see, technology is working against me. Okay, this should be it. Hmm. Let me just
Mina, do you?
restart. If I need to restart,
Okay,
I
I
mean,
am.
just restart the drawing table, basically the second screen. I mean,
Gotcha. Do you want me to present it or?
Maybe we could, yeah, maybe if you can, please, so that
Yeah.
we don't
No
waste a lot of
worries.
time.
It's okay.
It's probably a
I'm
little bit better.
pretty
And
sure everyone
the
is.
internet was failing. The pen is failing. The everything is failing today. The laptop was your laptop was restarting. Uh,
Yeah.
my laptop my laptop was crashing. So today is not a good day for technology. Anyway,
Okay, let me just pull it up right here. My screen is,
all right, perfect.
I don't know if I can hide this ribbon. Okay.
Oh, I
Mm.
got it now.
Oh, you got it. Okay. I'll
I got
stop
it.
sharing.
All right.
Okay.
It woke up.
No
So
worries.
let's do a slideshow of this. Is
Mhm.
this coming through all right?
Yes, perfect.
All right, perfect. Cool. So welcome to the live feedback session. Improve your art, or not. I mean, just as long as you make art. But it's all about improvement. It's all about self-improvement. So let's go at it. I'm usually a little bit, I quite like. I like to think that I'm quite harsh with the with no, no not harsh, but I always like to give some constructive feedback. So please be advised. I will bash your heads in, but I will also like to try to compliment and like give some positive feedback as well. So let's see where we're at. All right. So this is first work is was submitted by Minerva. Oh, I love this name, Minerva. Hello, Pedro and at your team. Please find attached a sketch I made after taking Pedro's figure drawing course. So this is one of the most recent courses where we approach the figure and how to handle both sketching with ink and watercolor figures. We did the whole course monochromatic, so just one color, so that we didn't have to do a lot of equations. Basically, we wanted to get familiarized with shading only. So we did everything with just one tone. I just used neutral tint throughout the whole course so that people would just get familiarized with the wet media instead of getting familiarized with a lot of variables like colors and color variation. So we had one color, so we could focus only on values. That was the deal. And Minerva did just that. She drew a baseball player, which is really nice. It really picks up on the exercises that we did during the course. I really love it. I think there's not a lot well, not negative, but not a lot of constructive feedback to give here, I think, because I think I wouldn't change much. The only thing that it's really nice, like really nice backgrounds, popping out making the figure popping out from the screen. I mean, the posture is really nice. You can see that the balance of the figure is really nice because we can draw vertical here, and the head aligns with the supporting foot. So this figure is really balanced, really strong. That has a really strong posture, really stable posture, and like the anticipation of the what do you call it of the swing is part of the deal here. It's part of the sketch. It's part of like the liveliness of the sketch, like the anticipation, the moment before the swing, and we can feel it in this sketch. It's really truly amazing. Um, really, I think the only thing that I would say is not really much, really. I'm struggling to find something to say. I think it's really a great sketch. Maybe just a little bit of like tension over here. We talked about this during the course about like creases in the clothes to make the articulations appear a little bit more tense. So like for if our arms are stretched out, there's no creases. If our arms are flexed, there are creases here that show the tension. And Minerva did a little bit of that, capture a little bit of those creases of that tension in the knee, in the back of the knee here, but we could afford to have a little bit more in the leg, for instance, because this leg is flexed. So there should be maybe not from the reference photo, but I'm just saying that the figure could afford a little bit more tension with those creases, with a little bit of extra creases, maybe here in the leg or in the groin, or maybe even in the arm here. This arm should be tense, so there should be some creasing around here, or should, not should, but could, more in the could spectrum than on the should spectrum, right? Overall, it's a really nice sketch, and I really love it. It's a sketch that I would actually make. It's like it draws me in. The figure just and the posture just draws me in. Great job, Minerva. All right, let's move along. So next up we have Marty Hoover. Marty submitted a sketch of the very first workshop that that I taught with Etcher. So that's amazing. It was a view of. This is a view of not of the castle. This is a view of one of Lisbon's many viewpoints up on the hill. There are many hills in Lisbon, and this is just one of them. And you can see like there's a really nice outdoors place with tables and chairs for you to sit, with a kiosk for you to have a few drinks, and you can over there you can see the medieval castle, and the other hill in the opposite hill, and there you can see the river and the bridge, like it's kind of like a San Francisco style bridge, painted red and all. Uh, and overall, this is really nice. I mean, we can really see the main subject, I think, of this the main theme of this sketch. It was a long time ago, but the main theme of this sketch is to handle many different things. I think I was kind of overreaching with this workshop. It's like a lot of stuff that I've dumped on you. Um, and so we were aiming for having foreground figures, middle ground figures, and the whole background over there. So we would have like a layered sketch, like foreground, middle ground, and backgrounds. And this creates like a sense of depth in the sketch. Like you can really see that there's a distance and a perspective going on there. And I think Marty handled it really nicely on the right side of the sketchbook. I do remember that we did this from the reference photo of this was actually a Google 360 degrees camera. You know those, like when you go to Google Earth or Google Maps, sometimes you can go like on Google Street View and you can look around. So if you drag around the view, you can look around because it's like completely 360 degrees view. So but we mainly focused on the castle and on the viewpoint and everything. On the left side, we have a church, we have a convent, the Graça convent on the left, and there were a few people on the photo as well. And so this is where the sketch, Marty's sketch, begins to feel a little bit wonky. So it's perfect on the left side, on the right hand side. It's a really consistent image. And then as soon as Marty started to add stuff on the left side, then it suddenly started to feel a little bit imbalanced. And here's why. So one of the things that we approached on this workshop was the horizon line. So there's the horizon line here, and more or less like people that are standing up should be aligned with this line, right? People that are sitting down just flow downwards in the diagonal as they get closer. The thing here is that these people on the left sides are a little bit scattered by the winds. They should be like bigger. If they are this close to us, they should be as big as this guy sitting here. So these figures are a little bit like a little bit tiny in comparison to the rest of the sketch. So they seem that they don't belong. This actually feels like two different sketches separated by this tree. So I would just like keep the right hand part as a correct sketch, as a consistent correct sketch. And this part was just experimental, let's say, like trying to add a few more, like trying to twist the perspective into going on more on the left sides with a few wonky details. Like the convent, for instance, should be a little bit up in the page. Like there's details that don't align with the perspective that we see on the right. One small detail on the right hand side of the right hand page is that I think I would place the horizon line, which you can see there with the river. I would place the river up here because then it would align, even if we know that it's really below, because these people are standing up here, and the whole city and the river is down there. We can feel this distance. We can feel the difference of height, but still the horizon line should be consistent. Even if there is like a major difference of heights, the horizon is so far off that we see it aligned with the horizon line up here, right? So this is kind of complex, but it makes sense if you go to a viewpoint, a high up viewpoint, and you see the heads of the people in the viewpoint will be aligned with what you see really far away, right? So that's the
Right.
only,
Mhm.
yep.
Oh, I think we have a follow-up question from Marty.
Oh, great.
They're asking, Horizon line confused me. Was it where the bridge is or at the end of the path?
I would say it's well, so the it can be wherever you want, really, Marty. So you chose, but I think the most, like 90% of the sketch is showing that the horizon line is here, up here, where the people are. So the river should follow it rather than the other way around, right? In this particular example. So I would place the river like this, just this bit with the bridge and the river up here, almost connected to the castle. And if you see the reference photo, you'll see that it's a little bit more up there, right? It doesn't go down this much, basically. But this is really a tiny detail because like it's the only thing that drew me attention. If we forget about the left part of the left page, if you only focus on the right page, this was the only thing that really drew my attention. And it's such a tiny detail that it doesn't compromise the quality of the sketch overall because like shadings are really good. You manage the yellows and like the shadow and the purple shadow and the shine, the yellow shine, really great, and all the mess that you can see downhill and the castle on top. I think it's really great sketch. So congratulations in that sense. Any follow-up questions, Kathleen, by Marty?
I don't think so. They said,
All
thank you
right.
so much. All very helpful
Great.
feedback.
Thank you,
And
Marty.
props for you for that, because I think Marty was really expecting a harsh comment.
Oh, good, good,
They
good.
did
All
express,
right.
they expressed that in the comment. All right. Thank you
Nice.
so much, Marty.
All right. Thanks, Marty. All right, next up we have Valerie. Valerie is a freaking flyer. I see her a lot on Instagram and on. She recently had an exhibition, I think. So that was
Yeah.
great. All right, so Valerie, this is not an exercise from any of the courses. So this is like the baseball player where Valerie took the learnings of the course and brought it to her own daily sketching life. Hi Peter, sending you my painting. This is what I come up with all the courses that I've taken from you, and what a great learning experience. Oh, thank you so much. What could I've done better with this painting from all the classes with hands and faces and etc.? I'm not sure which course that was it. I think it was last year, probably 2 years ago. I think I'm yeah, not sure. Yeah, I think the last one was 2023. In 2024, we didn't record anything with
Mm.
Etcher, I think. Um, all right. All right. So this is really very good sketch. Like the baseball player, I think, like Minerva's baseball player, this is really very well accomplished sketch. It's a portrait. It's not a sketch. Probably it's not the sketch that I would do, like personally, because I usually like lean into the urban sketching environment in where we have some contexts. Like sometimes, occasionally, I get commissioned to do portraits, and this will happen. It's like an isolated floating figure, which is also good for practice, like Valerie did here. I usually like to incorporate my figures in a context, like in an urban context or whatever, where the people is where the people are standing or sitting. In this case, this is like Valerie took the figure and isolated it and made into like a like kind of a gem of a sketch, which is it's really nice, really falls into, and it's really right perfect. I'll say like you could do this like detailing better than me because I always mess up the details, like the flowery details and everything. So really great expression on her face. Great contrast with the use of dark hair. Like the hair is really dark, so it contrasts with the the paleness of her skin and the clear color of her hat as well. Also the legs, I really like this detail where we have like a white dress and then the dark parts, like the shadow of the legs. We can see that her her skin tone is fair, is like clear, like uh, light skins, and then we have a little bit more of a dark skin down here and on the in the legs. Can be a sunburn, but I think it's more has to do more with the shadow. And we can and should use these tools of contrast to create a little bit more impact in our sketches. So Valerie could have used like the light skin tone that she used up here in the face and chest, but you went for a darker tone, which works really nice in contrast with the white dress. So that's like you draw attention to that particular detail because of the extra contrast, right? And sometimes you can like twist reality into like, okay, let's make the skin a little bit darker so that we draw a little bit more attention to that, a little bit more punch into the portrait. So excellent, really nice. I think the only thing that I would add maybe would be like a backdrop or something that would make a little bit of contrast with the white dress as well. Like for instance, like Minerva has here, she has like a light and dark backgrounds, which is neutral, completely neutral. There are no features. It's only like splash of color, right? It's only a splash of neutral watercolor, and it works really nice for the baseball player. Brings it from makes it pop from the paper. You could have used the same trick here as well to make the figure pop even more. Wait, getting ahead of myself. All right. So I think that's the only thing that I would say about this was that could be like this tiny maybe improvement, or you can just ruin the sketch. So keep it like this. All right. Thank you so much, Valerie. And
Mhm.
moving on to the next one. All right, here we have Hakan's sketch. I think Hakan submitted a few sketches, so we'll see
Yeah.
more of their work. So Hakan created this beautiful landscape. I want to believe that this is they were standing there or sitting there sketching this. So because it really feels like that, may, hopefully not from a photo because that's where you really get the details in and the atmosphere in. If you can sketch, I mean, sketching from a photo sometimes it's necessary, but if you sit on location, that's just a much greater experience because you can experience the shadows and the smells and the sounds and everything. So all that gets infused into your sketch. So a couple of things here. I can see that Hakan is of the team horror Vakui team. So there's like a very particular set of people that like to fill up the entire page with watercolor, which is not bad. Please mind what I'm saying. It's not bad. It's just like I usually on my practice I like to like uh, let my sketches become a little bit unfinished on the edges. So I start on the center and then like they fade away to the edges until we see the white of the paper. Kind of like so that the whole composition breathes a little bit more. And what I'm seeing here is like it's vibrant colors. Hakan got some vibrant colors in there, some really great perspective going on, some like a lot of details going on. So it's all great. I'm kind of missing a little bit of balance with white parts, basically. So this house, this white house here, and the van, the Toyota van here, it's like my breathing space, basically. It's where I go to, okay, there's so much color here. Okay, let's go to the clear papery parts of the sketch just to breathe a little bit. And then let's go back to the intensity. So this creates kind of a dance between with your eyes. Your eye starts to dance around the composition, and they naturally get attracted to the white parts because they are a little bit more relaxed. So I would say that like the only thing that I would be mindful about this and advise Hakan to do is on the next sketch not to intensify so much every single color. So basically we could afford to have like this yellow, which I believe it's probably ochre or red, raw sienna. We could have like a part of the facade a little bit more diluted, the pigment a little bit more diluted. Or maybe we didn't need to have all the pavement painted. Or maybe we could afford to have a part of the sky that's a little bit more diluted instead of being like absolute cobalt blue intensity all around. So sometimes white spots and white and like washed away pigment work a little bit better in trying to make a more relaxed composition, basically. Because this feels really nice, really vibrant, but maybe it's like too vibrant, like too much color. Like let's try to tone it down a little bit more. Otherwise, great perspective skills, great detail skills. I really love everything that's going on in this sketch. Like I can see the tiny dog resting here in the roadside, which really amuses me. Like these kind of details are really what make a sketch great because like it shows that the person paid attention to the surroundings. Like let's try to include this dog over here for like almost comedic relief, and all these textures on the walls, the texture on the flowers, on the trees and everything, and then the breathing space of the van and the White House. So great sketch all around, Hakan. Thank you so much. All right, the same exercise, the same 2020 workshop. Um, Great job here. So again, really vibrant colors, but this time I can feel a little bit more breathing space, as you can see though. So like there's like empty spots over here. You didn't paint the entire city, so you left a few unfinished spots here and there, which works really great against like work really great in bringing a little bit of complexity to the composition, but subtle. It's not like intense. It's not like fully vibrant, but it gives you like the confusion of the cityscape without having a lot of details into it, without investing a lot of time and effort into it. Great job here with the gradients of the sky. This is the sky that I prefer. For instance, like if we had the sky in the previous sketch, maybe the composition will feel a little bit more relaxed. So this feels very much more peaceful, I think. I think like the intensity, maybe this intensity of the shadow is a little bit too much. Maybe like tone it down just a little bit because it's a really vibrant and intense violet color. So it really draws attention. So and the shadow in this case is not the protagonist. It should be just like to create contrasts for us to pay attention to the city instead. Uh, but all in all, it's a great sketch, great perspective skills. Everything is in its right place. It feels like a place, and it feels like it's the houses are cascading down the hill. So yeah, nothing to say besides that. All in all, a great sketch. All right, next up. All right, so this we have a set of 4 sketches, and these are all from the first course, from the first ever course, which had I believe six classes, 6 different classes. So these are 4 examples of 4 different classes that the course had. So first up, let's analyze. I think this was like the second class or the second or the third class, maybe. Yeah, I think this was the third class. This little house here. The idea here was to kind of puzzle in the house, like build the house like a Lego, like starting with small details like triangles and diamond shapes and more triangles, and we start to build the house spiraling out, like starting from this point, spiraling out, adding more shapes and more shapes and more shapes. Basically, this was to fine tune your eyes into finding shapes rather than trying to think about perspective all the time. So this works in the gable. So in this side of the house is really working for Hakan. It's really well connected. Everything is really well connected, and it feels like a proper perspective. It gets a little bit wonky on the right side because I think Hakan exaggerated a little bit too much on the perspective. So this is kind of it's going down too much, I believe. The house feels tiny on the right side, the right hand side. So if we could just focus on this part is really good, and then it starts off well, and then it goes a little bit too tiny. It's like so. Usually, I tend to tell people exaggerate a little bit on the perspective because our brain usually tells us to flatten everything. But in Hakan's case, I'll tell you the other way. Otherwise, like try not to exaggerate so much because I think you've got the perspective right in your brain and in your vision. So it's just a matter of okay, let's. It's just a matter of fine tuning the perspective. But all in all, we can understand that this is a house. We can understand the scale. We can understand the depth of the sketch. So uh, it's mission accomplished, basically. It's just like a matter of fine tuning the perspectives. On this one, let's go to this one. The held gosh, the lighthouse. Oh, I can't English today. The lighthouse here. This was a little bit more to test the exercise here was to test textures, to test combinations of textures and of different line types. And I would say that this is near perfect results in regards to what we wanted to accomplish with the exercise. We have a bunch of textures, different textures here mingling, right? We have this concrete texture from the lighthouse. We have the vegetation texture here with mixed with stone texture. We had the sea. We have the sea. We have the clouds. So there's a lot of variations of types of line here, which really convey different textures. You can look at it, you can feel that these are different materials, these are different substances. And that was exactly the aim of the exercise. So nothing bad to say about here. So we'll move on to the next one. So this was an interesting exercise. It was an exercise in continuous line and storytelling. So basically, the reference image here was a Google photo, Google one of those 360 Google photos, Google Street View, where we would start from this side and progress our way in a single to another character in our story. So we would start out by this girl with the umbrella on the left sides, and we would progress to the guy and the sitting down guy under the shadow and the public bench here. So the idea was to connect both characters with a single continuous line. Kathleen, is this coming through all right? Because
Probably
Kathleen,
right now you're back.
okay.
Yep.
Uh, okay. Because I was getting the signal here that my internet was a little bit wonky.
You're
Uh,
back now.
but
You're
again,
good.
okay, it's fine. Good. Thanks. Um, so the idea here was to have that single continuous line and have control over it and it was like a path where we would find details between one character and the other. And I think it's really well accomplished. The only like 90% of it is really well accomplished until the shadow, and then we get to the character, and the right hand character is a little bit too tiny. Feels almost like a child's. And there's this giant woman with the umbrella. So there's kind of a difference in scale, which is perfectly natural to happen in this exercise because we start off the sketch from the left side, and then we go through the whole square, the whole street, and we get to the other character. When we get to the second character, we already lost track of the scale of the first character, right? So it's a little bit difficult to keep track. So this was part of the exercise as well. To let's see if we try to get to the end with the same sense of scale in our minds, in our visual perception, right? So just a little bit of adjustment here, but all in all, like 90% of the sketch are really well done, and then you get to the right hand character, and there's a slight mess up there, but no worries because everything else is like it's a really great line, especially on the tree lines. I really like the lines on the trees, very really flowy, really organic. You got the pen moving, and you kept it moving, and you can really the it's really transparent on this sketch. This sketch on the upper left corner here, this was the almost no, this was the final exercise, right, of the course. So this is where everything would bring to we would bring everything together, right? We would bring perspective, we would bring composition, we would bring textures and depth of field and etc. 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 And it shows and just with a pen basically. So we were shading just with a pen, so it's really complicated. And the way I see Hakan sketch is that they did a great job on the foreground and on the middle ground, maybe not so much on the foreground. And it was difficult, I grant you that, because it's such a huge area that is shaded with the building. So, I mean, in order to create such a large area of shadow with just a single thin pen, really takes patience. It really takes a toll on us. So it's like practice, practice, practice until you get it right. So like, I think the only mess up here was this whole area of the shadow where I see lines and not a shadow shape basically. So it's just a matter of handling the shadows a little bit like you handled here, which is a little bit better, or like you handled here, like you handled there or there. Uh, so the same principle applies to this shadow over here. So keep the lines a little bit closer, a little bit more disciplined, and it'll be all right because everything else is really shining. Oh, there's just one detail I think perspective-wise that draws my attention as well is that like we were practicing perspective with curves as well, right? So you can see that there's this canopy of this hotel here. And much like the sidewalk here, the sidewalk is really well handled, right? There's a curve here, and then the canopy of the hotel kind of does the same gesture, the same curve. It could be a little bit more like flat, a little bit more squished from up and down. But then the windows are what worries me a little bit more because the windows should be a little bit more exaggerated. So here I'm pushing for exaggeration of the perspective instead of being like these feel a little bit too horizontal for a building that I know that it's curved, right? They should be a little bit more curvy as well. The windows, I mean, the disposition of the windows. Uh, that's the only thing because like this really, the left part, the background really translates a Lisbon street quite well. Uh, Great job on all in all. These characters I also like a lot. These foreground characters here, they're really well handled, I think, as well. Even if wonky, but I can see that there's posture and there's movement there. So great job here. All right. Next up we have nothing else. All right. Oh, that's my mug. And all right, I think I was going to sketch over. I was going to grab these in Photoshop and sketch over, but I think I've covered most of the stuff that I wanted to say. For instance, like here, you can see this is my
Okay.
digital drawing table. There you can sketch over your sketches, and like there's really nothing to say here except for like kudos on this structure here. This is what I was talking about, right? The support foot is aligned with the whole body. So this feels really balanced because of this effect. Even if the other leg is running away, this is the
Yeah.
leg that's supporting the full weight of the figure, right? So it makes sense. It's really well done. Um, Nothing to see here, nothing to sketch over here. Oh, so let's see. Yeah, nothing to sketch over here as well in terms of perspective. I think it's really great. Same thing here, perspective wise, works really well.
I think.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Kathleen, go.
Oh, I think we have a question in one of
Oh,
Hakan's um sketches. It was
sketches. Yeah.
where there's a lady at the left side of the photo.
Let's see this
There we
one.
go. This
Yeah.
one. And someone was asking about the sh interesting texture below the person.
hmm
And I
This
think
one.
that was a shadow that was overlapping. So can we talk about how to effectively, make those shadows in
Mhm.
ink drawings? Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think Hakan has really some really great examples here. For instance, this is a more simpler more simple approach to shadow, which is like you have parallel lines, basically, and that's it. The same principle applies to this shadow and this shadow and this shadow and this shadow, right? It's the same principle over and over and over again. Really effective, really simple, no trouble at all. More complex even is this example is the same. So wherever we have shadow, we have the diagonal 45 degrees lines, parallel lines, right? Like you had in the sketch before. But here it gets a little bit more complex because here Hakan is showing something different with the shadows. So there's shadows where the lines are vertical, right? There's shadows with the line where the lines are a little bit more compact and 45 degrees. There are shadows where the lines are horizontal, right? And there are shadows, again, where the lines are vertical. This not only reflects, this is like working on two different variables. So firsthand, we are conveying shadow. So there's a shape of shadow there. We have to make it a little bit darker. So we just go at it with a pen, right? That's the first instance, the first variable that we're handling. We're conveying shadow. Second effect is that we are conveying direction. So we are with our shadow, with our the direction of the lines of our shadows, we are conveying a little bit more information about that surface. So in the ground, we have horizontal lines because the ground is horizontal. In the facades, we have vertical lines of the shadows because the facades are vertical, and so on and so forth, right? You can do this all over. I can see that there's, for instance, like these texture lines here, they are kind of curvy and they kind of translate the curviness of the surface of the lighthouse. So this is really well accomplished, right? In those terms. So you convey both shadow and direction or sense of the volume or direction of the volume, right? Does this answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is more of a simple approach where you every single
right.
shadow in the whole sketch is like just one direction. That makes you quicker. You don't have to think so much about it, and like it makes for a quick sketch. It's great for quick sketches. If you want to think more and you want to convey a little bit more information about the whereabouts that you are, then you go this way. It's a little bit more complex, takes a little bit more time, but it's worthwhile in terms of like if you want to go for a grand sketch, right?
Great.
All right. Oh,
And it's,
this
I
is
think,
yeah.
mhm. I was just gonna say Hakon was very helpful for this because he was able to provide a lot of his sketches. Thank
Yeah.
you, Hakon.
Thanks, Hakan. Oh, so the perspective non-exaggeration that I was mentioning here is that maybe we should have gone a little bit more like this, I think. Let's see, bam, bam, and bam. So this feels a little bit more stable, right? And what Hakan did was kind of distort it in this way. So it feels a little bit like, feels that we're falling down or the house is going to be falling down. Oh, there was this one. This was like kind of a one-off that was also in the folder. But yeah, nothing to say here. Oh, all right. So this is Martin's sketch, I think. And we are going to try to show where the horizon line should have been, more or less. So if we're drawing all the people around here, like all the heads are more or less around here, then the horizon line ends the river should have fallen a little bit more over here. There we go. Something like this. Which means that this part, this area around here, should have been more comprised of houses. So the houses, the roofs and everything would go up to the river, and then you'd have like the bridge over there, something like this. I'm drawing with my mouse over here because the pen is not working. Anyway, and you can see that like if we extend the horizon line to the other side, you can see that it doesn't match this sketch because the horizon line here is more around here. So we would pretty much have to pick up this part of the sketch. And let's see if I can do this on Photoshop. Let's have some fun. Let's pick it up and move it a
Oh,
little bit upward. So this would be a little bit more correct in terms of
I
perspective.
see.
So here we go.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, makes a little bit more sense, right? Like doesn't feel so unstable in a way.
Yeah. And I think this is very helpful as well, especially for Marty.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, really cool.
All right. And yeah, we're back at the beginning. So that
Mhm.
was it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Pedro, for that um very detailed. You've even gone through the effort of let me just looks like you're on your own there. There we go. You've even gone through the effort of opening up your editing app just to really go the extra mile of explaining your thoughts.
Yeah.
And oh, Marty says, I see. Wow, awesome. So I think that was very helpful. Um,
Awesome. Yeah,
all right.
it's like sometimes it feels like it shouldn't feel like that, but sometimes like in class environments, it feels that the drawing is sacred, and it's not. You can like pick it up and correct it. And like, well, I don't do this with people's sketches in the sketchbooks, right? I'm doing this on Photoshop, of course, so like I can sketch over it at will, just to show that, okay, this sketch could have taken another direction, or this should be a little bit more on this side. So, I mean, there's nothing really sacred about these, about like sketches. And like, let's go at them and edit them and experiment a little bit with them because these are our laboratories.
I like that.
Yeah,
Laboratories. Yep. Places to experiment. And yeah, the digital world has so much to offer that it has presented as options as well, if anything.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think we should take advantage of that too. And if you guys have any questions, additional questions for Pedro, or if you want to submit your work but you are too shy to kind of comment your works, feel free to message him on Instagram. I'll be dropping his website or Instagram here on the chat. And also, I'll be dropping the link to his classes on our website. Let me just put that there. And if you're watching this as a recording, then you'll be able to see all of the links I'm dropping in the live chat replay. Otherwise, it's also in the description below, most of them. And I'll also be dropping lastly Pedro's website if you guys would like to learn more about him and what he does. Really interesting stuff. Marty said they'll be in Portugal soon, so I
oh,
hope you guys meet.
give me a text. Give me a text then,
Yeah.
Marty. And I usually work downtown Lisbon, so my office is in downtown Lisbon, so it's very touristic and very very sketchable basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, send a message on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and let's meet up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pedro, for your kind words and your really enthusiastic presentation and rundown of all of the submissions. And thank you, everybody, for especially for those who have submitted. I know we know it's a great step, and it's a brave move for you to put your
Yeah.
work out into the world. So, and what more to be, given feedback. That's also like a really a brave thing. So kudos to you guys. Um,
Yeah, kudos. Oh, thanks so much for doing this. And it's like it's exactly like Kathleen said. We have to put ourselves out there to like to learn something and even to like for everybody to learn, because like everybody learned from these examples, right? Not just one person learned, but everybody that was watching learned something, I guess, hopefully.
Exactly. And thank you though, Pedro, for being so kind with your time to grace us for this live feedback session. So thank you so
Not at
much,
all.
Pedro. It was
Thank you.
enormously helpful, says Marty. Gail, thank you so much, Pedro. Awesome. Um, all right, well, do you have any final thoughts before we close the session?
I do not. Let me try to come up with something on the spot here. Uh, yeah. Now, it's something that I think I always end up saying is that like try to sketching from photo. I already said this, but sketching from photo is one thing. I always advise people to sketch outside if they can, like on location. That's like where things really start to happen, not just outside, but inside as well. And like the
I love
minds and our sketching visual perception starts to really feel the hit when we do sketch outside with movement and everything. So that's my advice.
Thank you so much, Pedro. And thank you
Thank
again,
you.
everybody, for sticking with us till the end. And until next time, everyone, make more art. Bye
Make
for
more
now.
art.